And I remember the first time I became a leader was in class 5. And class 6, that is what probably would call grade 3 and 4. And I was a bell ringer in my class. For me, that was a leadership position. And of course, I went into high school. I became a drama captain in my third and fourth year. And of course, on and on. University, I was an organizing secretary for a club, sociology club. So leadership is all about believing in yourself and knowing that there is something inside you that people want, and people want to be given direction and motivation. So today, in the next 15 minutes, which have been given by Adamu, allow us to walk through discovering yourself as a leader. My company vision statement is to be a global influencer and builder of talent in the society. Unfortunately, as you might hear some background noises, we have curfew in Nairobi. It is starting at 8 p.m. So we are very restricted in where we can operate. So we are operating from the house now, but all is well. So I decided to go a little bit out of town and talk about a boss and a leader. A boss is a dictator. A leader joins you in teamwork and tells you, let's go. And I decided to go out of Africa a little bit before I come to Africa. I am looking at Abraham Lincoln, who was a great leader. And these are the kind of attributes that he had. He's an American former president. Ability to learn on the job. That's very critical for any leader. Readiness and willingness to share credit. Willingness to share blame or failure. Influence people through storytelling. Storytelling has become a big thing today. People want to hear your story. Like I've told you, my first role as a leader was a bell ringer in class 5 and class 6. And also be willing to relax. FDR, who is also a former US president, who came into presidency during the US market crash of 1929. About 15 million Americans were out of work, like the way we are finding now with COVID. Majority of our people are going out of work. And he was sworn as the 32nd president of the United States. What did he do? We learned 5 leadership lessons from FDR. You must have a vision, because your people will be feeling slightly, they will not be feeling confident. You must have optimism, and no matter how bad the situation is, you must always give your people hope. And of course, there's something he said about fear. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So do everything else and don't fear anything. FDR also spoke about working collaboratively with other people. In fact, we are told the night he was sworn in, he did not go for a party or for a ball. He went into a meeting where he came up with what you call the 100 days, which has been copied by many corporates nowadays. Anytime a CEO or a new chairman comes on board in any corporate body, they always come up with a 100 days strategic plan. What do they want to do in the first 100 days or 90 days? And there's a very good book written by Professor Watkins of the Harvard School of Business on that. Take bold action and demonstrate courage. That's what FDR said. Be courageous. And this was a man who was crippled by polio and he was unable to walk. In fact, he ruled all his presidency from a wheelchair. So it doesn't matter the incapacitation you have as an individual, you can be able to achieve what you want. He also spoke about self-confidence, that you need to be somebody who is self-driven and you don't give up. Let me come to Africa, Adamu. Nelson Madikizela Mandela. I'm taking this like case studies of some of the individuals who we have seen excel in leadership, and what are some of those lessons that we could be able to learn from them. Nelson Mandela, one of the lessons, School of Leadership, one of the lessons you can learn is courage is not the absence of fear, it is inspiring other people to move ahead. But as a leader, you must put a front. In fact, he says there's a time he was flying in South Africa from one town to another, and their plane, one of the engines seized media, and everybody in a plane was panicked. But he continued reading his newspaper as if everything was okay. And when they landed, went into his BMW, and as they had driven about 50 kilometers, there was an author who was writing about his story. He asked him, I didn't see you fearing up there when our plane seized the engine. And he said, as a leader, you never show fear. The second lesson from the Mandela School of Leadership, you must lead from the back. Let other people feel that they are the ones who are running the show, but you have shown the vision and you have shown the direction. And also know your enemy and learn about his favorite sport. For Nelson Mandela, he learned Afrikaans language and how rugby is played, because the Afrikaans who are the colonizers used to love, or they still love, rugby. So you must learn what your enemy likes, and so that you can be able to influence them. Keep your friends close, according to Nelson Mandela, and your rivals even closer. They were not close with FDW Clark. They were not close with Prince Honey, but he ensured he kept them close to himself. And he also said, smile. In fact, Ramaphosa, who is known to have been very close to the ANC, says that people used to love Mandela because of his smile and what they call the toi dance. There's a way he used to dance. That was also a signature for him to be able to influence people. And again, Nelson Mandela said that quitting is leading to, if you quit, and as he quit after 4 years, he didn't rule for 2 terms, but he left a legacy. Leaders who don't want to leave political positions, then that becomes a challenge. I want to go to India a little bit. Mahatma Gandhi. This is what you call servant leadership. He was the epitome of servant leadership. Lesson number 1 from Mahatma Gandhi. And remember, Mahatma Gandhi actually learned his leadership skills in South Africa before he moved to India. You must have a mission. In fact, in corporate organizations, we talk about vision statement and a mission statement. A vision is the dream. The mission is how to achieve the dream. So you got persistence. Don't give up. Even when situations look like they have come to the very end, your only weapon that you have is persistence as a leader. So that was critical for Mahatma Gandhi. Number 3, honesty, especially in Africa, where politicians and even in corporate organization, corruption is very high sometimes. Ensure you are an honest leader, because honesty is the only remaining capital, social capital in organizations. Strength in forgiveness. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. So when you forgive, you are not weak. You are actually more stronger than the person you are forgiving. Of course, this gentleman believed in nonviolence, which was also taken up by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the US, that you don't do an eye for an eye. And we are talking about servant leadership, especially people who are in the NGO or the youth who want to go to non-governmental organizations. This servant leadership is a critical leadership type that you can be able to practice. He also spoke about change, Mahatma Gandhi. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. COVID-19 has revolutionized change. Digital transformation is completely, has changed completely the dynamics of the world. I'm just sharing with you now, we have a curfew in Nairobi, so you have to be home by 8 p.m. And you must, and it has changed, even working from the offices and everything and all that. Now we are working from home. Number 7, Mahatma talked about happiness. Happiness is when you think what you say and what you are in harmony. So sometimes as a leader, it's good to relax. It's not all serious, and what they used to say, work, and not play. Health. In fact, they say that your health is your wealth. And you only know the goodness of your health when you lose it. And especially now during this time of COVID, it's good to take care of yourself and your family. Physically, take exercises, bike riding. I know some of the participants like Josephat Murioki, who I can see here, is very big on bike riding. I know he's been a member of a club where I fellowship. So ensure that you take care of your exercise, and he's also a senior CEO in our country, Kenya, in one of the organizations. It's a serious youth leader. Sorry for that. Lesson number 9 from Mahatma Gandhi: your thoughts and your actions. Everything that you see people doing today started with a thought. Adamu inviting me for this talk started as a thought, and then you have actioned it today. So your thoughts lead to action, they lead to results. Willpower is very important. Nobody can hurt you without your permission. True power from every leader comes from within. So you must work within. There are things we call the 4 empires inside you. Your soul, your heart empire, your mind, and your physical body. So take care of your soul by spiritual nourishment, whether you are Muslim, you are Hindu, whether you are Christian or African traditionalist. Take care of the soul in terms of the way you feed, in terms of your supreme being. Number 2, take care of your mind. What you read, giggle, garbage in, garbage out. Very, very important as a leader and as a young leader to read and read the right literature. Number 3, physical, as we have said, your physical body, very, very important. And lastly, we're also speaking about your heart, your emotions. Be careful because of issues like depression. As I come to a conclusion, Jeff Bezos is also a recent leader, especially people in the corporate world. What are the lessons we can learn from this? The owner of Amazon, the biggest bookshop online, the biggest bookstore online. Number 1, give your employees independence. Let them take control of projects and run with them, and they are going to be very innovative. Number 2, convey a meaningful vision to your people. His style is to inspire, and then he leaves you to run with the ball. Customers come first, especially guys in corporate, or you are running your own small SME, small micro enterprise. You are running your small business somewhere. Your customers keep you going. So ensure you put them first and be patient with them. He also says that your vision will take time. So be patient. Fail. When you fail, it is you have only noted or known one way that things cannot be done. Remember about Edison and the bulb. He made 1,001 mistakes and finally discovered the bulb that we use in a house. So your failure is not final. It means you have discovered another way of not doing it. And also be obsessed with hiring the very best in your society. Finally, Jeff Bezos talks about promoting the right people at the right time. In fact, he says he promotes extensively from within. The last one, which I know will be very interesting, never kill your gut decision making. Listen to your gut. Listen to the inner woman or man when you have a major decision to make. After you have done all the consultations, if you want to invest in a certain area as a young leader, you want to get into a certain organization as a young leader, you want to register for a certain course as a young leader, listen to your gut. It never lies to you. Jeff Bezos hates meetings, especially long PowerPoint like the one I'm doing. He loves 6-page written memos which narrates about what you want to do. We read through them, then we discuss the points. He doesn't like PowerPoints. Barack Obama, one of our own from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and of course, global president. What are the lessons we can learn from this person? Take a risk. Life is all about risk. This gentleman took a risk and became a president. Talk about we, not I. Frame your discussions with us and we, teamwork. Believe Belief is change in change is fundamental. And you know, he used this slogan a lot. Out communicate your competition. You remember in 2008, he was awarded the Marketer of the Year by Advertising Age because he was online virtually everywhere. Today, if you are a business and you are not online, yesterday I was on an online mentorship program from Dubai. Majority of them were ladies. And some of the highlights were that you need to go digital. LinkedIn, you need to be on TikTok, you need to be on Facebook, you need to be on Twitter, you need to be on, and you need to be communicating regularly, because that's the only way you are going to be, people are going to know you are there and what you do. And every time Obama had an heading, he used it as a beginning. I'm sure my time is running out. Remember, last two screens, everything rises or falls on leadership. Therefore, leadership determines success or failure. So in a nutshell, my last second slide, what are the ingredients of good leader? You must have influence, integrity, you are authentic, creating positive change. Your attitude is very, very important. Positive attitude, we call it PMA, positive mental attitude. Respect for others and also for yourself. People development, develop others, you know, nurture leaders, so that tomorrow if you are not there, there are people who can be able to run that organization, probably even much better than yourself. Self-discipline as a leader. In a youth, you must ensure you are self-disciplined. Vision, and of course, teamwork. The final screen, lead yourself first. Check on your emotions. That's why we were talking about feeding your brain. Your time, are you a timekeeper? I think Adamu, we were here quite early. Together with his leaders should have energy. People who are driven, not people who are walking around, you know, sluggish. Your thinking, as you have said, becomes your actions. Your word is your honor. Your word is your reward, and also your personal life. Thank you so much. You can find us on all those sites, YouTube, LinkedIn, just Google Joe Nyutu, LinkedIn, Joe Nyutu, YouTube, Facebook, Joe Nyutu, Twitter, Kigongo, Joe Nyutu. Finally, that's where we are. Asante sana, danke, limena, niwega, erukamano. Thank you so much, Adam. Shukran.
Oh, thank you. Many thanks again, Joe, for joining us. That was an extremely informative and insightful, and you've certainly given me some good pieces of insight, which I think I'm going to take away. I think through that presentation, you took us from the United States to Africa to India and back to the United States with Jeff Bezos and then Barack Obama to the United States via Kenya. So yes, it's been a a global tour of leadership, but distinctly from a very African perspective, which is beautiful. So yes, I've taken away some gems in terms of what you talked about with FDR, you know, take bold action, be courageous. And then you spoke about honesty, forgiveness, change, willpower, emotional intelligence. So, you know, just to carry on the conversation and to keep it from like, you know, a African perspective in terms of leadership and leadership within African society. One of the questions which was posed earlier on that someone asked was, you know, why do family-owned businesses, you know, corporations in Africa tend to fail, or they don't tend to outlive the founder? You know, it's something that you kind of see quite a lot within African society.
Good. Thank you so much, Tess. That's a very relevant question. In fact, yesterday I was seated with a family-owned matriarch, and we are discussing some work together. They want to do a 10-year strategic plan. Now, they are in the bakery industry without going into much detail because of confidentiality. But he has 5 children. 5 children. Now, out of the 5 children, the last born is the only one who is showing interest in food. In fact, he is going to join a university in the US come August to go and do food science. Of course, it will take her another 4 years to come back. So what normally happens with African-owned businesses, especially family-owned, is lack of succession planning. We don't start showing our children what we do. Like if you look at the Indian community in our country, Kenya, because we have many of them. When that kid is in grade 9, grade 7, grade 8, anytime they are on holiday, they are spending time in the business with the parents. And therefore, by the time they go to the university and study, they already even know which area they want to study, either finance, accounting, management, and come back from the US or from Canada or the UK and run the family business. Our children do the other way around. We take them to Canada because we are running a business, we can afford it. I was looking at the fee structure for that college the daughter is going to attend of my client. It is about, it's about Kenya shillings around 1.2 million. It's about $120,000 or thereabout. So it's pricey, it's very pricey. But once they go and study, they never come back. So we need to start nurturing our children very early. I should start showing my sons, my 2 sons and my daughter, what I do. In fact, I would wish them to come around so that they can start learning what their father does. And therefore, when I'm gone, they can be able to continue with the business. I think that is what happens.
That's quite, that's quite insightful. I agree. I agree with a lot of those points. So you're talking about bringing children into the family business early on. So obviously within that, you're giving kids business skills, leadership skills. So, is leadership, do you think, is it something that is born or can it be developed as you kind of mature and get a lot older?
Wow, great question, Tel. I mean, great question, Adamu. Leadership, we normally say there are traits. There is a theory we call the trait theory. The trait theory says that there are some personality traits that you have within yourself that make you disposed to be a leader. However, there is also another theory that we call situational theory, that a leader can crop out of a situation. I'm sure you have ever witnessed in Nigeria or Ghana an accident before you went to the US. And whenever an accident occurs, they just require one individual to be able to marshal the other ones and even marshal the ambulances and put, and ensure everybody is put on a stretcher, especially in the African context where there is not much good organization. That gentleman or lady is a leader, that particular point. And maybe at home, they don't talk too much. So leaders, we can grow. And that's why we are attending some of these webinars that African Youth Awards have organized. They are going to be very essential because we are going to start mentoring our leaders very early. We've been having a very good discussion in my church with some of my members that we need to start nurturing our youth and in fact, mentoring them individually. So a leader can be born, like for example, Chaka the Zulu. A gentleman was born, tough guy, but then they can also be created. They can also be created. They can be created.
So fantastic, fantastic. So carrying on in that kind of context or that theme in terms of a leader can be created. I think you've kind of slightly touched upon it, but I'd like you to probably go into more detail in terms of how can we grow young leaders early in life? So if a leader is born or a leader is created, there's still some nurturing that needs to take place at some point in their life. So how can we grow young leaders early in life?
We need to do it. We can do it from, thank you so much, Adamu, for that question. And even we need to do it from 3 levels. Number one, in the school system that we are in, I have had a privilege personally to be invited and carry out a leadership program in some secondary schools in Kenya. When they elect their prefects council, I've had a privilege to go there and talk to them. Now, those young men and women who are getting into the prefect council, they are starting to learn about leadership skills. They should be encouraged that by the time they do their 1 year or 2 years before they get out of secondary school or high school, they should also be nurturing other leaders. So that's very important. The other area is now within our families, that we should start growing our sons and daughters, especially within the context of the work that we do. Finally, within the society, we should have mentorship programs. And majority, like if you look at corporate bodies, I'm talking about the likes of Google, the likes of, in Kenya, we have Unilever. They always have leadership programs where they can identify a young worker who can be grown to become a management trainee, who can be grown to become a product manager that way. And in fact, they can even tell this person is going to be a CEO one time. So these multinational organizations have some programs, but then for governments, it is to be encouraged that and of course, our leaders, political leaders, they do not want to nurture the young people. Sometimes you say that leadership, you don't know it to be given, you also grab, especially politics. So you need to be bold, courageous. Yeah, thank you, Tess. Like you are damn.
Yes, I agree with you. Obviously, continuing from your last point in terms of politics and the youth in Africa, we've seen a lot of African youth becoming very disheartened or disillusioned when it comes to their involvement within the political landscape within Africa. Why do you think political organizations and parties in Africa lack youth in leadership roles?
Um, Political organizations in Africa are run by people who have money or who have access to resources, financial resources for that reason. And therefore, what happens is that majority of the young people, because they are still building themselves, they do not have access to resources unless they have come from a political family, so to speak, or from a strong financial background. So what happens is that when you come to campaigns in Africa, political campaigns are financial drainers. They require very huge resources for you to be able to do them. It's not like in the US where, a person like Obama, who was just a professor of law from my university, just was able to carry the day and become a president. In Africa, you got to have strong financial backing, which then therefore means majority of the youth don't have it. The ones you see in positions have been given token appointments together with, of course, now ladies have taken a lot of space, but for the youth, they are normally token. So financial resources is one of the problems that the youth have. But I also want to encourage the youth in this particular forum that sometimes go out there, become a driver of that politician, become his gardener, because you have had the situations in this country, in our own country, where some of the politicians were even house girls of some of the key senior politicians. And one today, they are members of parliament. Some of them were drivers. And today we have one of them who is a senator. I have heard him share, the senator of Nairobi, for those ones who are from Kenya. He was a driver of one of the politicians. Today he is a senator. So you got to identify opportunities, even if they are low, so that from there you start hearing, and the language, because there's always, we normally say leadership and success has a language around it. So when you hang around them, we say birds of a feather flock together. You'll pick up the nuances. and for sure you'll be able to become a leader somehow.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. It's a theory that is definitely beginning to be spoken a lot more of recently in terms of to be successful, you have to surround yourself with other successful people. You know, to become a leader, I believe you should surround yourself with other people, even if they're not leaders, they're aspiring to be leaders. And together, you can galvanize each other and move forward and move upwards together. So, carrying on from that theme, in a very general or overview in terms of who is a leader, you know, in terms of your
Ah,
opinion, who is a leader?
who is a leader? Good. Can I go back to my screen if you allow me? Are we moving or it's already stuck? Because I would have liked to share have influence. And sometimes influence is you taking responsibility. And it does not like I'm talking about a young person. It doesn't matter whether you have started taking responsibility of cleaning the offices where you people work, or cutting the grass within the compound of the organization you work, but you must. And from there you can influence. From there you can influence. If you read the book of Nehemiah, for those ones who are Christian, Nehemiah was a cup bearer for the king. And being a cup bearer, you can even poison the king. And therefore the king is very careful with you. And you become an influence. So it doesn't matter how high you are. The first critical thing for a good leader is influence. Number two, integrity and authenticity. Honesty, as you have spoken about Mahatma Gandhi. Because when everything settles down, if you have integrity, you still shoot up. Then attitude. Create a positive attitude. Like now, COVID is surrounding us, Adam, and you are still continuing with online mentorship sessions. This afternoon, I was speaking to a coach of some club which I want to volunteer around my community. He is telling me, please start doing some online mentorship classes to motivate our people. People want to be motivated now. So a good leader, like now what you are doing, Adamu, you are creating a positive attitude in people. Respect others. Even your child in the house, I have a 6-year-old daughter. There's something she can tell me that can be able to help me unlock. Yeah. So listen, and of course, people development, grow others. So that when you are gone, when you are not there, we have other people who can be able to pick up. Self-discipline. There is something we call the 5 a.m. club. What do you normally do with your hour from 5 to 6 in the morning? Robert Sharma, who has written widely about it, he says the first 20 minutes, you should always do your exercise. You could find me here in the floor in the morning doing my jumping jacks. You have to do that for you to have a sane mind. Then the next 20 minutes, reflect, write a journal, plan your day. And then the last 20 minutes, read something. So you got to have some self-discipline. Leaders have self-discipline. You cannot sleep up to 11 a.m. in the morning unless you are working night duty and you expect to be a leader. Then of course, vision and teamwork, very important.
Fantastic. I think that nicely rounds it up and encapsulates what it is to be a leader. So we have a few questions in the chat box, so I'm going to read them to you. Okay, Joe? So we have one from Brian
Right.
Oduma, where it says, where do you draw a line between where to let go in terms of realities of life and where to keep risking?
That's a great one. As I have said, life is a risk. Somebody said that if you look at the spelling of the word life, in the middle, We have L-I-F, if, and then E. So life is a matter of if. If I do this, this happens. So you need to retain a positive mental attitude, even when everything else is sinking. Unfortunately, sorry for quoting a lot from the Bible, but remember Moses, for those who are Christian, when Moses was just next to the Red Sea, the Egyptians are following him. They want to overtake them, and this is the sea. He had to look somewhere. So even when you feel down, go in yourself, take time off, take time to reflect, and I'm sure you'll get away, either a mentor or an idea somewhere. So never, ever, ever give up.
Fantastic.
But of course, sometimes it's good to take a back seat and reflect on the situation around you.
Oh, fantastic. So Josephat, this is just a comment, says great presentation. Thanks, Joe. Chioma says, thank you so much, Mr. Joe. Ade Kile.
Thank you. I know. Josephat is a senior CEO in our country. Runs
Oh,
one of the major retirement schemes in our country.
oh, fantastic.
It's a serious.
Hello, Josephat. Well, I'm not yet nearing retirement age, but hopefully when I reach that stage, you can advise me on retirement.
He can give you some advice. He has actually learned. He has done his studies in London. So
Oh,
I know
fantastic. So yes, Adekile says, from the things to manage apart from time and others, how can a leader manage his emotions properly?
How do you manage your emotions properly?
Yes.
Now, remember I spoke about, we can go back a little bit on the screen. If
Yeah,
you allow.
you can control the screen.
Great. So good. But anyway, emotions. I spoke about the 4 empires inside yourself. Your soul empire, the heart empire, the mind empire, and the physical body. So you require to, that's why you require the 6 a.m., the 5 a.m. club. Because we are in an environment of technology a lot. So by the time I wake up, if I look at my phone, the first thing, most likely I'll be distracted by things of other people's life. So you need, first of all, to have your 20, 30 minutes me time. One, I have taken up myself a lot on journaling. Journaling means you reflect on what you did yesterday and what you want to do today. I also take time nature walk. When you do nature walk, even if within your community where you live, it also helps your mind to process things. Also, spirituality. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, Muslim, you should be able to identify yourself, because Solomon, one of the people who wrote a book called Ecclesiastes, said, everything is vanity of vanity. We have just buried one of our most successful leaders in Africa, Tanzanian leader, Magufuli. Very, very, very hardworking gentleman. But this time has come. So you can only do so much within the 24 hours you are given, do much you can in 12 hours, and then you let go.
Fantastic. We have a question from Victor Kenneth. I am a leader of a startup. However, I don't know how to motivate my team members. How do I do that?
Good. When you are you have a startup, I'm looking at a company that has probably 12, maybe 5, 2, 3 people. Here, people watch you. You come to work at 11 a.m., everybody will come into work at 11 a.m. You come to work at, so it is your personality. It must be a personality type that is engaging people, and also ensure that, because you don't have resources when you are starting as a startup, some of the people you engage, you can give them shareholding of the company. Give them some shareholding. Tell them you have 20%, you have 5%, and have it written down, documented, by a lawyer. It is not something that you are speaking from the air. And, and therefore, they will be feeling that they co-own that company with you and they are going to give you the best time. But when you have a startup, people watch you. So you are the image of the organization. So your habits, your emotions, how you take care of your time, your priorities, your thinking, the words, even your personal life. So you become the brand, personal brand.
Yes.
I hope that has given him some.
I'll have to agree with that 100%. Obviously, from my experience of working with startups or new businesses,
Yes.
the owner or the leader of the business is a person who sets the culture in that business. Sometimes if you go into a business and the leader has a positive attitude, everyone's positive. If the leader has a negative attitude, everyone within the business has a negative attitude. So you set the tone, and every person in a small organization, every person has a very specific role and personality, and it's incumbent on you to understand what makes everyone tick. Not everyone is motivated by money. Some people are
No.
motivated by responsibility. Some people are motivated by ownership. Some people are motivated by flexibility. So you need to understand what makes each person tick and
Wow.
be
Yeah.
able to, yeah, you need to understand what makes each person tick and be able to then incentivize them in that way. Is it working from home? Is it coming in at 5 a.m. and leaving at 2 p.m.? Some people might come in at 9 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m. You need to understand what makes each person tick. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone, I've worked in organizations where bosses have thought if I give someone a bonus or a pay rise, it will motivate them. Not everyone is motivated in that way. People are motivated through different means, and you need to understand that.
True, 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 true. I agree. We normally say in psychology, there are two types of personalities: personality type A and personality type B. Personality type A, majority of them are perfectionists. They do their things very quick. They want everything done according to time and according to procedure. Personality type B are people who are a little bit relaxed. We call them mesomorphs. They're a little bit relaxed. They take things at a pace. They are team players. They like a lot of conversation, a lot of talking. So you need to know. And also we say there are people who are square. There are people who are triangle. There are people who are circle. So that's something we can handle. But it is good to know the working style of
Yes,
your employees and give them that leeway, that opportunity.
100%.
Yes.
Brian has said, can we form a WhatsApp group? We actually
Oh,
have a Telegram group. We have a Telegram group. I'm not sure if everyone's on Telegram, but the reason why we don't have a WhatsApp group is because WhatsApp only lets you have 250 people. In the Telegram group, we actually have 400 people. So let me share the link in the chat box for the Telegram group. So feel free to join, where we will be continuing the conversation. It'll be great to have some people from here join the group and to contribute and to work collectively to motivate each other, develop as leaders. Let me see what else we have. We have a kind of statement from Iram. My humble suggestion is why not introduce character education for the young ones to make them grow with it too, become a good leader in future. Okay.
introduce what?
Character education.
Oh, character education.
Yes.
Now,
Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
yes, maybe just a bit to say that this has more to do with the soft skills, the soft skills. Now, the soft skills ideally, and the future of leadership and future of management going ahead is going to be around the soft skills, not the hard skills. Issues of honesty, in issues of values, integrity, issues of those are the things that are going to drive corporations going ahead. You know, So that's a very brilliant idea. I like it. I like it. Yeah. I
Okay,
love it.
fantastic. I think, do we have any more questions in the chat box? Anyone have any more questions? Brian has added to the question by Victor Kenneth, which was obviously, I agree with Brian's statement or answer in terms of leading a startup business is like growing a love relationship, especially when it comes to motivation of employees. You have to understand what each of them is interested in, then go for it. The
Wow.
more the motivation, the more closer and loyal they become and business grows. I agree 100%.
Wow, even me, I agree that. I agree.
Yes, yes. So I don't think we have any more questions, but I think we're coming very much bang or precisely to the allocated time. Do you have any final words or suggestions you'd like to give us, Joe?
My final word is that for you to grow, do something that scares you. So walk out tomorrow and do every day. That client you have not been calling, that application for a job that you have not done, that idea you have of starting a business, grab it, go for it, scare yourself, and you'll be shocked because we normally say, and also check your network. Your network is your net worth. People
100%.
you hang around. So thank you so much, Adamu. It's a pleasure.
That's one of my favorite quotes, and I agree with you 100%. To grow and to develop, you need to come outside of your comfort zone. If you're always comfortable, you're not growing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
So many thanks again. Many thanks again, Joe, for joining us. It's been extremely informative, insightful, and you've certainly imparted some great pieces of information that we can take away as a group to further develop ourselves as future leaders. I'm sure this won't be the last time that we see you. Just to let everyone out there know, we're in the process of developing some more detailed, in-depth courses, which we will launch soon. And obviously, Joe will be part of that.
Good.
And obviously, we do this session, these masterclasses, every Thursday at the same time. Next Thursday, as part of our series of leadership development masterclasses, we will be joined by Patricia Akpo. She'll be talking more in terms of mastering the art of personal development. So I'm going to post a link in the chat box where you can register in advance for this masterclass. But most importantly, I'd like to say thank you, Joe. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor having you on, and I look forward to you joining us again in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Adam.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great day, weekend ahead. Take care and see you next week.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everyone. God bless.
Thank you, Adam.